All right, so the last organ system that we're going to kind of talk about in terms of the potential consequences and benefits of anabolic hormone therapy is the lipid system and the risk for developing atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. This is kind of one of the most contentious things when it comes to testosterone, but hormone replacement at large, because of the causal association with cholesterol and ApoB or LDL particle number and the generation of coronary plaque. So a few things. Number one, when I look at atherosclerotic disease and the risk for developing such a condition, it's kind of a conglomerate picture, right? So it's not just looking at lipids, but it's looking at inflammatory metrics and it's looking at endothelial or vascular function, right? And so when it comes to the anthropomorphic benefits of testosterone and the increases in muscle mass and the reductions in visceral fat and the reduction in triglycerides and all these different benefits, it's really hard to tease out where an increase in LDL cholesterol or a decrease in HDL cholesterol would manifest in a negative fashion. It doesn't mean we don't look at that, right? We can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, oh, everything else is going great. The ketogenic diet's a good example, right? So some people do great on a ketogenic diet. They don't have any increase in blood lipids. They don't have any issues with coronary plaque or anything like that, but their ApoB or their LDL particle is super high, and that's a no-no when it comes to interpreting risk for atherosclerotic disease. So do we just say, all right, well, just keep going. It doesn't really matter. There's plenty of people that don't die from a heart attack that have super high cholesterol. We can. But we also have to make sure that we're mitigating every single other category of risk. So with testosterone replacement, if HDL goes down, why is that, right? So if HDL cholesterol is reducing, what are the actual particles doing, right? So if you have a fleet of garbage trucks that are designed to move garbage from a certain location and take it back to the dump or to the landfill, and they so happen to be empty, well, does that mean that there's an issue with the garbage trucks? Or does it just mean there's not a whole lot of trash? The functionality of HDL particles is actually what is most important when looking at the metric of HDL cholesterol. It's not really the cholesterol content that matters, it's the vehicles that carry the cholesterol. In the same sense of the LDL cholesterol. The LDL cholesterol doesn't matter as much as the ApoB particles or the LDL particle number. So when we look at these advanced lipid testing on someone who is taking testosterone, we look at these trends over time and we try to appreciate for certain people what their risk is in terms of getting worse or is it getting better. There are plenty of people that have terrible lipid metrics when they come and see me for the first time. We start a program, we do different interventions, we start, nutritional interventions, testosterone, whatever it might be, and as a whole, their profile improves. If we had just done testosterone, would it have been that way? We don't know. This is part of making sure that you're taking an actual holistic intervention and approach. So when we take the studies that show that testosterone increases LDL cholesterol or it decreases HDL cholesterol, there's also the issue of conflating variables, right? What do those people look like? What else are they doing? Are they eating healthy? Are they exercising? Are they doing all the right things that they should be doing otherwise? So pulling all that back into our conversation regarding risk reduction and longevity, we have to play devil's advocate and say that if testosterone is going to negatively impact risk for cardiovascular disease in the sense of increasing the risk through the lipoprotein profile, then all we have to do in that sense is make sure we're watching it. If it goes in a negative direction, we have a conversation about lipid-lowering therapies if the benefit of testosterone is worth the risk in the cardiovascular domain. It doesn't mean we just wash it out and say that because you feel better and have everything else looking better on the blood work except for lipids, that you don't have that risk. The risk is still there. It might be less because everything else looks better, but at the same time, we can't just ignore it. And so, once again, it all boils down to nuance, and it all boils down to the person in front of you, and then me as the clinician, or whoever is the clinician guiding these people in their healthcare journey, and making sure that we're doing everything we can to promote health span.